back again after a little bit of delay, and I really am very sorry that I haven't been able to really keep up with this channel as much as I wanted to, because I've been traveling a lot, and I hope to from now on to be more persistent with these. And as a gift to all of you, I'm presenting you guys with this brand new video, which is going to be such an emotional journey for so many of you, and I can't really stress enough. And one of the things about today's video is that it's very personal, and it's just like very raw. It's all about a certain period of my life which I have gone through, and I feel like it is time for me to share those moments so that someone out there from among you, perhaps you who have gone through the same ordeals or are going through that time, could be helped by listening to my experience. This is going to be a kind of short and kind of tragic story, which isn't really tragic all the way, because I believe that everything in life happens for a reason, and the people we encounter in our life, either they give us something or they teach us something. And all of us, everyone in this world is going through their own trauma, they have their own drama in life, and I think one of the things we can learn to be is to be much more kinder, to much more forgiving in nature. With that said, I also believe that it is very important, especially for empaths, to set boundaries, because we are the kind of people who know that, this is why this person is experiencing this or have gone through that trauma, which is why they are behaving in such a negative manner with us. And it's really important to set boundaries, because we need to understand that this is acceptable, and after that or beyond that, it is no longer acceptable. For example, if someone is treating you badly and you're aware that they had this tragic past for which reason they're continuing this cycle of abuse, you do not need to be the person on whom they are going to continue it, and it's not your responsibility to teach them or to inspire them. Perhaps you could inspire them with some kind words, but very often people will only hear what they're ready to hear. Let me say that one more time. People will only listen to that which they are ready to listen to. So even if you are trying to help someone, inspire someone, or get someone out of that abuse cycle, they may perhaps not always connect with you. They may not always get what you're saying, or perhaps this may not be the right time. You can give your kind word and your kind suggestion. At the same time, it's very important for you to set boundaries, especially when it comes to relationships. So I'm gonna start my story right now. I'm gonna make it sound like a real story. And basically this happened. It was my first relationship. Back in high school, I was like about to give my exams, to be honest, and this person I was like friends with for a long time, he came and he kind of forwarded, I like you, I'm interested, and if you want, we can go on a relationship. And until that point, I hadn't really seen that person in that way, and I was like, I don't know, I had always been really distant about these things. I don't really connect with people I hadn't really connected with people in an emotional way in the form of a relationship before, and I was thinking that, yeah, basically love and friendship should be the same. And since this person was my friend, so perhaps it's time for us to get on to this relationship and let's see what happens. I told this person, it was during my exams, I was almost about to leave high school after that exam. So I told my friend that, okay, I'm going to think about it for a week and I'll tell you my answer after a week, on the last day of my exam, which was my O-level exam actually at that time. So, and a week passed and I hadn't really thought about it because I was studying a lot, and on the 6th day I thought that, you know what, I think everyone should have someone, they should have a partner, And since this person I was already acquainted to, we had been friends for like a year, and I know him and he knows me, and I thought, okay, let's give this relationship a try. And here I would tell you ladies as well as men, a lot of times, especially women, they really get into a relationship because it seems like the only option out there. Because right, for me, it was like, let's just try it out and let's see what happens, because I had never been in a relationship before that. But I think I'm going to be a lot more decisive about it from now on, because sometimes some things are some decisions are better made with both heart as well as mind. After I said yes, I think the first month was probably the most peaceful month. In fact, the first 20 days or something. I gave my exams, and then I I called and I said, okay, let's see, let's find it out, let's work it out. And then when we were together, I think the first 20 days, sorry, or the first month was probably the best month, where we really were compatible. Like, we had the same level of understanding, and we were talking, and it was all good. And from that moment onwards, it kind of like spiraled downhill. And this is why I'm making this video for all you women as well as men out there, because sometimes these things happen really out of notice. It just happens really subtly, like at the back of our minds, and by the time you are really aware that, hey, this is wrong, like, you don't really get to see the flags when you're in it, because you're like too blinded or something. And by the time you're really down there, it's kind of like too late to even react, which is why it's so important for us really to really be like in our own frame from the beginning, because the person who really chooses you is going to like you just as you are. It's just a beautiful, magnificent, amazing person that you are, for your personality, for who you come out, for who you really show up in this world, as well as who you really are, your weaknesses, your perfections, your imperfections, and everything. People who are about to manipulate you, they're not going to just come out and say that, oh, you know what, I have chosen you for whatever reasons I have, and now I'm going to manipulate you or customize you and make you do things the way I want. For some, and for others, it could even be worse than that. It could even go to physical abuse and other kinds of abuse. First flag people should really notice is when the behavior changes, and it really is normal for people to change their behavior now and then. I mean, situations in life are not the same. But what I'm talking about is more deliberate, things like, especially with men, they're gonna like try you out. They're gonna be like, hey, can you do this favor for me, do this, and just, it could be some small request. It could be like, pay this bill for me, or it could be like, do this thing which you are not supposed to do but he's supposed to do it. It's going to be a really, really small and general request. And then it even could be like, I don't like how you look, I don't like your dress, I don't like your hairstyle, I don't like your something, and why don't you do that? And they're gonna be like really soft about it, and they're gonna be like really sweet about it, and you're gonna be like, oh, sure, let's just go ahead. I mean, it's not a big deal. And you're gonna compromise, and that is going to be the first manipulation they're gonna use against you. I'm saying this for everyone. Come on, there's really gonna be always two types of people in this world: the people who are meant for you and the people who are not. So the idea is that you really need to make choices based on what you want to do, not what others want you to do. Again, this is really important for empaths, because we really feel what others feel, and we feel how bad they're gonna feel if we say no. But the idea is that to be strong and to be confident and to just know that this is your choice, and not, this is your choice and this is their choice, and it's really up to you to make that decision. So if you're comfortable with doing something that they want you to do, you can go ahead. But if it's something like you don't want to do it, even if it's the slightest, you need to really communicate to your partner that, you know what, I'm not comfortable to do this. I think you shouldn't really be asking me for something like this, and I shouldn't really ask you for something like this. Perhaps you could have an open discussion on what things, are okay between you and what things are not. It began with something really small, and it went down for me in my case to kind of like everything I was. And after like a month or 2 months, it became so bad that by the time we were in a relationship for like 3 to 4 weeks, or at least 6 weeks, all my friends, dropped out. Like, he just kind of disconnected me from all my high school friends, most of who were girls. In our country, we actually have two systems in our country. We have co-educational, which means men and women, they study together, and we also have non-co-ed, where we only have women. So all these friends I had, my childhood friends with whom I grew up, with whom I used to meet a lot, and I used to work at that time as a fashion journalist, as a music journalist, all the friends I had, he kind of made sure that I only saw the people he wanted me to see. And for example, my school friends, my high school friends, if I had plans out with them, he would be like, no, 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 let's not go there. You should not go there. You should go with me to the concert. You should go with me to shopping. And somehow he just made sure that all my plans were cancelled. This is another important trait about people who are going to abuse you or manipulate you. They're going to make sure that you become lonely, so that even if they later on abuses you verbally, physically, emotionally, they're going to make sure that they are still the only person you rely upon, and that can only happen when they disconnect you from your friends and your other family members. So they're going to try ways to really stop you from socializing or from talking to others, and they're going to make up excuses. They're going to make up like, I don't like that friend, I don't like that relative, I don't like that family, or why don't you do this instead? So what happened really afterwards is that every week, if we went out, we would go out with his friends, and suddenly all my friends and all my social life kind of disappeared. And it even became so worse. I used to work as kind of like this celebrity reporter. I used to go and take interviews of celebrities, and I didn't understand that time, but he used to just come on with me, and he used to be like, I want to be there with you, I want to protect you, or something like that. He would come and he would take pictures with the celebrities whose interview I took, and he would make it seem in his social media like he was invited to their party, or to their launching program or something. He was invited specially by them. And even then I was like totally I was just totally like nonchalant about it. I was like, okay, probably that's a normal thing, because they're celebs and we sometimes like to brag. Perhaps he's just he's just showing off. And the thing is, as I was saying, when you're really in this thing, it's just so difficult to put point that this is what's wrong unless you have gone through the same experience. And for me, because that was the first time I was in a relationship, I really had no idea that, okay, this is wrong, this is just going against my boundary, until that person is walking all over you and you're like, something is so wrong, I have no idea, how did I put myself in this situation? Because all this were done while we were still on good terms. Perhaps we would be arguing every single day, he would be shouting at me, but somehow I felt like, oh, he's the only one whom I have, because by that time I had no friends at all except him, and he's the only one who wants my good, or something like that. A lot of gaslighting, a lot of experiences which are going to make you think that this is the everything is probably my fault, and I deserve this kind of humiliation, or perhaps I deserve this kind of treatment, whereas it's really, the root of it was somewhere else. So about this, the thing I would encourage all of you men and women out there is that really notice the flags, and your your gut instinct, it always knows what's there, especially you know beyond what you see, because sometimes we're so blinded by love and we're only going to want to see the goodness of a person. If you love someone a lot, even if they treat you really bad, or if they just kind of like not talk to you, or they ignore you completely for many weeks, you will still be waiting for them. Perhaps they're gonna text me back, and perhaps perhaps everything is okay. And it's really difficult to just snap out of that experience because people are not prepared to face the truth. And I think for this we really need to do a lot of inner work. I remember the 4 years of like this emotionally abusive relationship I was in. When we broke up, and I was the one who told him that, okay, you know what, this is not working out, and let's just stop it. It's the situations became so tense that we both began to feel that, okay, this is not going to work out at all. And still we lingered for like a few more months. Let's see. And then I just kind of like dropped it, that okay, that's it, I am not going to take this anymore. And that happened like nearly 36 months or 40 months later. So I remember being really depressed because I was in this situation of my life, and when the only person who was my friend, whom I depended on, and whom I depended on emotionally, and with whom I discussed my business and my problems, suddenly it was not there anymore. I just kind of like cut myself out, and it felt like a part of my world, or all of my world, got cut off just like that, chopped off in one instant. I didn't get to see that that was such a blessing in disguise for me. In fact, you're gonna like not believe it, at that point I was kind of like suicidal, to be honest, that my life has ended, I have broken this relationship, what have I done, it was not the right thing to do. I felt like that, and I felt the urge to just reconcile, and I realized that no, I don't want to do this, because with or without, both were bad. I mean, I don't know if any of you are in that situation where being with the person as well as without that person feels equally bad. So I remember going through this long phase of depression, and I remember this like almost like this one day when I was going for my work. I had gone to interview this person, and suddenly he said something without knowing anything about my situation, that it's going to turn out right. Everything always turns out right. And I don't know why, because I had like this person I was talking to had no idea of what I was going through, and yet he said that. And that for me was like the turning point of my life, that yeah, everything always turns out right. I shouldn't panic. I'm gonna be okay. This is gonna be all right. I mean, even though my world was like, it had fallen apart, I felt like, okay, everything is going to be okay. And from that point onwards, I focused on myself. I remember all the things I used to like to do before he entered my life. I used to love to play drums. I used to jam during, every day of the week, until he came and he would bring his friends to my practice pad where I used to play drums. We would talk, and suddenly I stopped playing drums. He made sure, by the way, that I stopped doing everything I loved to do. I loved to travel, I loved to play music, drums, I loved martial arts. Somehow he would just make these situations up where he would be doing that thing with me, and then we would both stop, or he would be like, yeah, it's not good for you, you shouldn't do this, and I would just stop. Just stop. And then I realized that, hey, this breakup turned out to be a good time for me to reinvest my time into myself and to find out what I really love to do, play music, and I love sports, I love parkour, I love I love I love acrobats, I love traveling. And I began to look inward, and it had really happened really slowly. It's like you first put on the seed, and then the next week feels a little better, the next month feels a lot better. And by the end of a year or 2 years, I began to see, when I look back right now, not right now, after the relationship, when I looked back after a year, I was like, oh my god, what the hell was I thinking? It was something like my eyes had opened, and I was like, how could I not see that this person was abusing me verbally, emotionally? He kind of trapped me in every every way I can. For example, okay, when I told him yes, I also gave him two conditions that okay, I don't mind marrying you in the future. We gave him two conditions that if we get married in the future, my mom needed to be taken care of at that time. So I told him that I have two conditions for you. One is that you will never stop me from helping humanity, because that's something that's really personal for me. I wanted to save the world at that time, and I still do. Somehow, I don't know, I told him that this is something, it's very personal to me. I want to serve humanity. You're never gonna stop me from doing that, and you will never stop me from taking care of my mom. So basically, at the end of our 4 years, the reason I broke up is because while we were talking about marriage, and I knew his family knew my family, and one of the conditions they told me is to get totally separated and disconnected from my mother. And I remember that that was one of the conditions I gave him, that if we ever get married, you will not stop me from taking care of my mom. And that was basically the point when I realized that this person came into my life, and he began to change every single thing about me. And right now, when I look back, I think that it's kind of like on me, on us. If you're seeing this right now, you, nobody can take away your power unless you give them the permission to. Nobody can take away your power unless you give them permission. So when I look back right now, I look back at this situation in my life as a learning experience. I learned that I can be strong, I can rise like the phoenix. I can rise from ashes, I can rebuild myself. After that breakup, I experienced the best moments of my life. My career which became almost zero, kind of reached new levels I had never imagined. I tried out so many types of sports. I traveled, I ate, I went on diet, I did so many things that my heart wanted, and it was such a liberating experience for me. And when you don't have something and then you have it, you know how important it is. So when I had my freedom, my freedom to express myself, my freedom to connect with my friends, when I had my freedom taken away from me, and when I received it back, when I reclaimed it, it was such a new experience for me. Just walking down the street felt so free, because there came a point in my life when every time I went out of the house, like in the morning, and I used to come back to my house at night, he used to be with me if almost 24/7. He used to go with me to my workplace, he used to go with me to my interviews, he would go with me to the restaurant. It was so obsessive, and I couldn't get any space. So when I stopped, and when I healed, and when I look back right now, I feel like just sitting down in the park all by myself is it's so freaking awesome. I get to explore nature, I can listen to the birds, I can enjoy this wonderful being that I am when I'm alone. And one of the things I also experience is that I can communicate with God, with the universe, when I'm alone, when I am still, when there's no one around me. And I feel so good that I had gone through this experience. It had really taught me so many things, and these are the things that I want to share with you. It helps someone out there. This is going to be one part of this video, and I'm going to share with you the lessons and some things I think you should really be aware of when you are about to embark on a relationship. Relationships are supposed to be very beautiful. My intention is not to scare anyone out there when it comes to relationships, but my intention is to make sure that you're really grounded, and that you really go in the safest way with your, it could be relationship, it could be friendship, it could be business partnership, but so that it benefits both of you, so that it's harmonious. And that's basically why I decided to make this video. If you like this video, and if you like these kind of videos, let me know in the comments below. I have decided to really move away from my regular hack videos, where I think if you have seen the channel before, it used to be like life hack, ethical hack, and motivational hack, things like that. I've decided to share a bit of my own life, and then share the hack I learned to overcome a problem, to overcome a situation during that part of our life. And basically this channel is all about that. It's about hacks, which are basically short, easy tricks to make your life better, to make your life much more amazing. Anyways, make sure that you hit that subscribe button right now if you haven't. If you've hit that subscribe button, nothing's gonna happen, but something good might turn up, and I'm gonna turn up more on your feed, and you will get the latest videos from me. So anyways, hope you're having a great day. Much love. Take care.
Close your eyes for a minute, close your eyes for a second. I won't change my mind. What does getting deep now? What does getting